Good morning, everyone. So I'm currently in Israel here, drinking my morning coffee. I couldn't find a mug, so I had to do it in a regular cup. I want to show you this place. This is kind of like what you would call a kibbutz, a moshav. You can see all of this land. Raphael is the owner. He bought this place. He took two RVs and connected them together to make this beautiful hosting place, kind of like an Airbnb. You can see here. Let me show you around. See here, you can sit and relax. These are actually all olive trees that are being grown. Here's the dog. It's now 6 a.m. Everybody's asleep. Shh, keep quiet. Here is Tom. His daughter, she is like an artist. Here is a small pool. Let me show you the horses. It's really nice. So this baby, she is 6 months. Her name is Sakura. She was born at the time that in Japan they had the flourishing trees. Hi Sakura, how are you? Looking for food. And this is her mother, Hamra. Hamra is like brown color. So these are the two horses. There are more around here. And I want to tell you a bit on what's going on in Israel and the overall trend currently. You all noticed about the prices going up like crazy. They call it inflation. It's all started in COVID when they printed money like crazy. And people had so much extra money that they started buying real estate, buying after a halt. During COVID, there was a halt. No one bought anything. People thought that everything gonna collapse. And then suddenly people had so much extra money because a lot of them got subsidies from the government. The horse is getting excited. So they started buying like crazy, and interest rates were so low that it was basically free money. So everyone bought real estate all of a sudden. And on the other hand, people that locked in, now that rates are up, people that locked in very low rates, they don't want to sell. So there is low inventory. And basically here in Israel, there's also all of the political issue currently, that the country is becoming more religious with changing laws, and people don't like it. So I'm here to visit my mom. She's older, she's not doing that great. So I'm here to help for a while. And also my daughter, she have bat mitzvah. You know, the Jewish religion, when you're 12, you're having kind of like a party. So basically, we're talking here to people in Israel. 50% of them just want to leave. And people all over the world currently, with the war in Russia and Ukraine, we see trends of a lot of money looking for a safe haven. And believe it or not, you I guess if you live in the US, maybe you don't realize it, but the US is kind of like a safe haven for the world as for investing, money being invested. Here in Israel, people can't afford housing. There was no crisis. 2008 didn't exist in Israel. All of the prices just went up and up and up and up. It's a small country, not a lot of land to build. Most of the land here is being owned by the government and being released slowly, and apartments in areas very far from the center, like cities that are further away from Tel Aviv, which is the central city, can be $1 million for an apartment, and that might be even considered cheap. You know, just like 4 walls, 3, 4, 5 bedrooms. Actually, in Israel, the living room is being counted as a bedroom. So a 3-bedroom in the US is 4-bedroom in Israel. And these apartments are being sold for a minimum $1 million. So this guy where we are here, Raphael, he just bought this land and built here. You can call it kind of like a settlement, which is not legal, and he is in a legal bottle for 20 years. But he needed to provide for his family. So he have this unit here, and he have 2 other units further away. He built a place for his son and for his daughter to live right close to him, in a kind of like a settlement place. So basically, people are looking for a solution with this kind of prices in Israel. You can make no yield. Basically, in Tel Aviv, you can make maybe 2%. In further cities, you used to be able to make decent yield. Let's say in BRRRR, Haifa, all of these cities, you used to be able to make 8, 9, 10%, 10, 15 years ago. Now it's 3, 4%. And Israel it's a startup nation. They have a lot of money. First, from high-tech, a lot of people are making very good money. Startups, and a lot of people are just make incidental money by appreciation of the real estate. They bought, let's say, an apartment for 1 million shekels. The ratio between the shekels and the dollar is 4 million shekels is $1 million. You divide it by 3.7, but just to make it easy, you can divide it by 4, just to understand. So let's say they bought an apartment for 1 million shekels for $250,000. Now it's worth 4, 5, 6 million shekels. It's crazy. So we see some people that basically they are looking to have their financial freedom. They're looking about the future, and they know that they can't count on their pensions to pay for expenses that are just rising. We see it also in the US. We just now realizing that pre-COVID, we lived in heaven, basically. Cars were cheap, food was cheap. I just changed the bulb in my car in New York, and it used to be 2 for $10. Now it's 1 for $35. It's simply insane. The prices are skyrocketing for everything. I have a friend that he won the green card. He's from Israel. He used to work with me, and his dream was to buy a Porsche. So for $45,000, he bought a used one. In Israel, it would be $200,000. and you're making less money. Like he's making more money in the US. But that was pre-COVID. Now, with all of the prices of used cars going up, people are really afraid of their pension. Hi, doggy. You want to listen? So, so overall, people are trying to understand what to do with the future, and basically, people that hold up to real estate, even though there was a crisis in 2008. I remember in 2000, I did 3 degrees in business and technology, and in my first one, I remember 2000, people were just thinking that the stock exchange is printing money because you bought like a meme stock, like there was so many, that the dot-com bubble, there was so many stocks, go.com or whatever, they just burst, and you could make so much money, and then it's all disappeared. I remember 90% of the money from my bar mitzvah from 13 years old just gone, just disappeared. And then I realized that, real estate, currently 85% of my holding is in real estate. Real estate is just basically way more stable. Everyone needs a place to live, a land like this. It's not something that is being produced. So even though he got this land for cheap 20-30 years ago, now the government is making him a hard time because he took it and started building it in an illegal way, because land is expensive. Even deserted land that are further away from the cities are now becoming more and more rare. And with the cost of living, people are just looking for a place to live. They're just getting some RVs and connecting them and making themselves a home, basically. A home that is not going to be that crazy expensive as we see now. So basically, we see so much money just, how you say, like flying over to the US from all over. We have a website, because I'm a technology guy. We built a website in 104 languages. So all of our content that we generate is being translated to all of these languages, and we see, I can see trends of where people are coming from around the world. And in Israel, as much as a lot of Jewish people are coming and investing in Jerusalem and other places, you probably don't realize it, but people from all over the world are investing in the US simply because it's a safe haven. I remember we had just a few hundred visits from Ukraine, from Russia. Now we see hundreds of thousands of visits from Ukraine, from Russia, from all of these areas. Basically, flying, the money flocking all over to whoa. I don't know what happened. I hope it wasn't me. So a lot of money is just coming to the US because people are looking for a safe haven. And we see a lot of money coming from South America, from Europe. Actually, we have a lot of keywords from, let's say, Germany. Don't know if you know the BRRRR method, BRRRR. It's like buy, rebrand, refinance, repeat. We are the #1 search for that in Germany, that the people are looking for how to do a BRRRR method in the US, just in Germany. They want to get their money out as well because there's so much rent control in Germany. There's so much regulations. And in the US, basically, it's all easy. You don't even realizing it, how easy it is to buy real estate in the US because you live here. Most of you like living in the US and you don't understand, like, title company, management, remote management, like the US is built for that. If I'm living in New York and I have properties in Florida, it's so easy to manage them because I have property managers. For you, you take it for granted. In Israel, there is, of course, Israel and the rest of the world is trying to copy what is going on in the US, but I did a lecture about technology and real estate and basically mapping the companies that are doing innovations in this space. And look at this place. Here you have some cells for horses. Nice place to sit. Someone was here drinking some coffee. So all of the management in the US is so much easier to do. You can do remote notary, title, all of these stuff. Hey doggy. You can do all of these so much easier than you can do in other countries. For example, I don't know, Israel is investing in Greece or other places that you don't speak the language. Like in Israel, we are learning English from first grade because it's the international language. Basically, we are a tiny country in the Middle East, surrounded by enemies, and the government knows that in order to succeed, we need to know English for whatever we do. Like if it's going to be for investing, or if it's going to be for work, or if it's going to be for technology, English is the base. So it's so easy for a lot of Israelis to come and invest in the US. And in the US, you have all of the public records for every property. And that's also, it's not something that exists in other countries. You can invest in Greece, for example. You have one building that you have some apartments that are run down and you want to buy and renovate. And you have no idea how much these apartments worth. You go to a website, it's all in Greek. You can't read it. You're trying to use some Google Translate, but you don't have the data like we are teaching basically in the US. You have software like PropStream, Rentometer. All of these software are basically basing their data on the public records that can be accessed, and you can now check for any property. For example, you take this property, you can look it up and you can see what's the rents. Okay, like in other countries you don't realize it. It's not possible. Even in Israel, you need to go to kind of like a billboard and guess how much you can rent it. But basically the billboard is just wishful thinking for people of how much they want to get for their apartment, for rent or for sale. It's not actual rents or actual closed sales. In the US, you have all of this data, you can access it easily, and basically there's so much benefit into that. So there's so much money coming from all over the world, if it's South America, if it's Europe, if it's Israel, either for political instabilities like it is now in Israel. We're driving in Israel, we're seeing so many protests with flags about the changes that are being done for the legal system here in Israel to give more power to the government, and basically making it a more religious country. And it's kind of sad for everyone that is not religious, which is a major stake of the population in Israel. But we definitely see that there are, there's more and more. I don't want to make this video a political video, but basically there is more and more religious people, simply because their religious families are larger. If I have 2 kids, they usually have 9, 10 kids, and so they gain more power. Look at this thing. What is it? A whale? Wow, that's cool. So basically, we see so much trends going on all over the world, and also in the US itself, we see trends. Looking at graphs and statistics, 361,000 people moved last year from New York City alone to the southern belt, to the Rust Belt, which the majority is Florida. A lot of people moved to Sarasota. A lot of people got to retire early because they just said during COVID, like the democratic states, like New York. First of all, it's making it very hard for landlords to own properties. Renters in New York can do whatever they want. They can stop paying for a year, and you can't evict them. So landlords are preferring to buy in. Again, not getting into any political statements, but simply Republican states are easier to handle for landlords because they are landlord friendly, and you can evict a tenant in 2 weeks. To be a tenant, it might be better for you to be in New York because you can kind of like abuse the system. And we see a lot of people that are just renting and and never moving and stop paying. I have a friend that almost lost his house. He moved back to Israel. He bought a house in New York. His mortgage is like $4,000 a month, and he rented it not even to make any profit, just to cover the mortgage. And the tenants paid 1 month. They moved in and they stopped paying. And he almost lost his house because he owned the bank like, I don't know, $40,000, $50,000. This is crazy. Most people don't have this kind of spare money, and they've been counting on that property to pay for the mortgage. And this is what we're seeing in New York. And on the other hand, all of the regulations that being during COVID in Florida, we didn't see them. So I'm not going to get into a discussion of, should you take the COVID shots or not, or is it true or not? Like, what is the source of COVID and things like that. But a lot of people just got tired of all of the regulations, of having the mask, of not being able to go to the gym. I remember pre-COVID, I was doing a lot of kickboxing. I used to have like a 6-pack, and I was so happy that it took me like 2-3 years to get into the routine of being like in really, really, really good shape. And suddenly COVID happens, and we had to move everything into Zoom. It's definitely not the same. I couldn't even find weights to buy. I had to buy like these water weights because everything was so expensive. Like, weights were hundreds of dollars, and you couldn't find them. And like the entire world got crazy, and people thought that real estate gonna sink. But we know what happened. Like, everything went up like crazy because money was so cheap. And people were just lining up, especially in Florida. Everyone was flying away from New York. Florida used to be, it's even hard to believe and hard to remember that, but it used to be a retired state. Like, it wasn't like a state that people were moving to actually raise kids. And people were just selling in New York for $700,000 and buying 2 houses in Florida for $350,000. Now prices in Florida are double than New York. Like, it's crazy because basically it's all matter of supply and demand. Like, if you don't have enough houses, people locked very low rates in the high 2s, low 3s, and they're never gonna give up their house because they don't have an alternative. They're gonna sell that house. Where are they gonna go, basically? So they are not selling, so there's not enough inventory. And Florida, compared to states like Texas, that you can just take a cornfield can see some fields here that you can just take and repurpose and build an entire community in a few months. In Florida, that's not the case. Like, you have so many regulations. You have the bluebirds, you have turtles, you need to have a seawall. You need to do so many things in order to build in Florida, because it's a tropical area. All of the animals want to be there, so also humans, just because of the weather. It's a great weather, so that's why there's so many animals there, because they don't want to be in the cold. It's just like the birds that are flying away during winter and looking for warm countries. So this is what happens. If you're looking at graphs in Texas, for example, we said for a year that there's going to be a collapse, like a huge decrease in prices and rise of inventory. Let's say in Austin, Texas, that this is like the largest bubble of all. And we now see that happening. Like, there are thousands of houses available. In Austin, they're building like 60,000 houses. In Dallas, like 80,000 houses. And just imagine what's going to happen when all of these houses are going to reach the market. And on the other hand, if you're going to look at graphs, all of the migration, internal migration that happened from California and such, just stopped. So you had high migration coming to Texas, and now it's all dropped. People stopped moving. A lot of companies like Google and Facebook from the Silicon Valley, they told their employees, listen, the party is over. You want to keep being employed, you need to start coming back to the office. So a lot of people either had to, that was an easy way for these companies basically to fire a lot of people without paying their compensation, or either telling them, that's it, you need to come back to the office. So it's either like people that had to come back or just stopped moving. Also because COVID is kind of like behind us. We don't feel COVID anymore in most areas. There's no restrictions in flying. There's no restrictions in, showing that you are vaccinated and things like that. So into Florida, we still see like 3,000 people moving every day, and there's not enough housing. Just think, all of these people need housing. And I remember I was in Florida for one of our deals, like a hotel that we been looking to sell, and I took a Uber, and the driver, she was telling me, she was basically crying. I told her I'm doing real estate and stuff. She told me that a landlord is going to raise a rent in 2 months, and that was like a year ago, from $1,700 for one bedroom to $3,400 for one bedroom. And this is just because he can, because to Miami, so many rich people been moving, also for a tax safe haven, like J-Lo and Tony Robbins, and of course Trump, and a lot of people are looking to be there for more than 180 days a year, just not to pay personal tax, because in Florida, you don't pay personal tax. So basically, you're saving like 15%. You're getting an increase of your salary just by moving. But just by moving, you're making more. On the other hand, the real estate taxes are high because you need to compensate on all of that. So what's happening, basically, is that a lot of people that moved to Florida, to Fort Lauderdale, and all of the expensive areas that bought houses for $700,000, $800,000, suddenly their value of the house doubled. So from one end, it's so great, my house is now worth $1.5 million. But on the other hand, they're not looking to sell because they locked in a very low interest rate when they moved, because they bought it during COVID when interest rates were low. they cannot refinance and do a BRRRR method, like buy, re-up, rent, refinance, repeat, get the money out and reinvest, because interest rates now are way higher, so it doesn't make sense to do that. And their taxes are double. So they built on paying $8,000 in taxes. Now they're paying $16,000 or $20,000. And on the other hand, what we see with insurance, the entire West Coast, if you remember Ian, I'm sure that every Floridian doesn't forget that. A million houses were damaged, basically. And a lot of houses right on the West Shore were damaged. And all of these people that still want to stay in Florida for the weather, they're retired. A lot of them lived like kind of like in RVs on the water. Everything got destroyed. It's so sad. I saw so many videos of families there that actually there was a family that was just about to sell, and they were about to get like a great price for their house. And you see this old couple, really old couple, like in their, I don't know, 80s, 90s, and she's trying to bath him outside with a sponge, and they lost their house and all of their savings, and it's so sad. And from homeowners, they become renters. And guess what? She's saying she's not going to go back to Michigan, to the cold, in her age. The bones are not the same, and you just can't live in a cold state anymore. You had enough, and you want to stay in Florida. So what do? They move to the center of Florida. If it's Orlando, but Orlando prices were just following Miami. They are crazy. Either Ocala or places where we build, for example, Lake Placid, which is right in the center of Florida, far away from all of the hurricanes. Because what happened with hurricanes, they come at category 5, and as long as when they go onshore, when they reach, let's say, Orlando, Ocala, Lake Placid, all of these areas, they go, like the wind speed goes down to like a tropical storm around 70 miles per hour. And usually there is much less damage. So that's basically the reason why we build there. It's where we build, it's a very up and coming area. It's the second most like migration wise, it's number 2 inside Florida for internal migration. Because as we mentioned, like from Miami, last year 32,000 people left Miami. And that's, like you take everyone that move in and move out, and you still have 32,000 people that were moving out, because you have a lot of issues in Miami that you can't have sanitation people, you don't have cops, you don't have everyone that have low salaries, because it's become a rich people place. And we do have projects in Miami, great projects for loft and stuff, but if you buy on a pre-sale 3 years before the building is built, you maybe can find a studio for $400,000, $500,000, and these prices go up and up and up when the building is being matured and built. A 1 bedroom can be $800,000, 2 bedroom $1.2 million. This is not for regular hard-working sanitation or police officers or nurses or people that are basically building the country, and every city is relying on. So Miami is kind of like in a crisis for that, all of the people that basically are working in the real estate industry, that are building your houses, it's hard to find. So it's not like in Texas that you can just take a field and build as much as you want. You're actually being limited also by the supply. So this is another reason why real estate is so high in Florida, because you're limited in supply. You also need to, as mentioned, to get a land ready, you need to move all of the turtles and all of the tropical birds and all of this stuff. So you're limited on that. And also people are not selling because they refinanced on or on a very low interest rate. So you don't see many properties going out. So basically the solution, it's become cheaper to build a new house than buying a house on the MLS, because every house on the MLS, you have people from all over the world flocking into that and overbidding to get this house. So by building yourself, you can kind of like control the cost of land, the cost of materials, and this is exactly what we do. So where we build, we are building for investors, and we are looking to basically all of the parameters, so the investors gonna have peace of mind and good yield even in Florida, because it's much easier to have on paper or on spreadsheet good yields in places like Detroit, Michigan, that basically have negative migration. They have crime. They have they don't. They are building themselves, let's say, around one industry. Let's say the car industry. The area level is not that great. Let's say C minus if A is the best and D is the worst. So you're kind of like investing in areas that are not that great, and you need to deal with these tenants. So on paper or on spreadsheet, maybe you're buying a house for $50,000 and you're supposed to get $1,000 a month, but after a month or so, they stop paying, and you need to evict them, and they're not happy about it, so they're going to ruin your property, and then you need to renovate, and then you need to replace everything, and you need to pay for eviction, and then you need to pay for a realtor to find another tenant for you. So you lost like 6 months. So where is the 12% now? So basically, for investors that are looking for a peace of mind, we build that project, and we've been building for more than 3 years now. And basically, we started building in bulk, which means we're starting wholesaling houses, because we've been building so much, so we could lower our prices. So let's see what is building your cash flow. First of all, the price of the property. And of course, everyone says that you're making money when you buy. So if you buy below market value and you're getting equity, this is how you basically make money. So these properties, if you look in Zillow, the value is close to $300,000. We used to build them for $260,000 for one house, and people that bought a few, let's say two, they got it for $245,000, and three and more, $235,000. So basically, we have went on scale. We renegotiated all of the pricing of the materials. And by the way, during COVID, for example, we took a lot of losses. Why? Because we got into contracts for a certain price, let's say for the 260 for our investors, but materials and labor went up so much. But for us, for my name, or for my company, we are the largest investor group in Israel. So to keep my reputation, of course, we kept the price on the contract, compared to many other builders that they are basically the price is based on an index of cost of materials, that if the material go up, the prices go up. And I had investors coming to me and they were crying, like they bought a house for $350,000 and suddenly they being asked for another $80,000. And people don't have $80,000 just lying around and to give to a builder to finish a house. And they've been stuck. That they came to me for financing, because we have a financing company that we're basically doing like a reverse auction between 160 plus. Currently, it's keep on growing, lenders to find the best loans. So I'm hearing a lot of stories, and this is what we see. So with us, the price is strict, which means like whatever the price is, we keep this price. And during COVID, for example, we had to bring because we're building in 2023 standards, compared to many other places, like you see here, the houses are made of wood. Many other places in the US that the houses are made of wood and sheetrock. Of course, we have the internal walls in sheetrock, but all of the surrounding of the house, it's all made of brick, just like in Israel, basically, which makes the we're going to talk about it soon. The insurances very low, because the house is way safer. As for wind, and Florida have very high regulations compared to how you can build houses these days. And we see houses that are built, let's say, in the 80s, and people are trying to sell. The homeowners trying to sell, and they're stuck because the insurance is now close to, let's say, I don't know, Boca, Fort Lauderdale and stuff. You might find a house for, you found a decent price, $700,000, $800,000, which considered now very like a good price for a house to live in. But the insurance is going to be starting at $9,000 for just the basic insurance, and $12,000, $13,000 for if you want to have higher coverages, because 90% of the insurance companies just left Florida because of the storms, because they just went bankrupt. So basically, if we are talking about cash flow for investors, the houses that we built, so first of all, we lowered the price. We lowered our profit by more than 25%. We renegotiated the prices because we are the largest forum. We have like 17,000 people. So we can basically have much better pricing. I see some people waking up in other units. It's like 6 a.m. now. It's so bright. So we have, let's go back to the unit. Oh, it's getting hot. So first of all, you have equity when you buy the house, because if the house after being built is worth around $300,000, you have a lot of equity. The thing is, you can only finance once the property is built. Why? Because in order to get a new construction financing in the US, you need to show experience in building, which means like you already did, I don't know, 3 to 5 houses, and most of you guys don't have this experience to get such financing, and this financing also going to be expensive. It's going to be in the 10% plus, and if you're looking to have, hi horsey, if you're looking to have a perm financing, which means like 30 years permanent rate, you need the house to be built if you want to get like a low rate. So basically you can finance once the property is built, but you do need to come up with the money for building the house, but you are paying it alongside the progress of building the house. First of all, buying the lot, and then basically paying in installments. Oh, it's so hot. Installments, the rest of the payments as the house being built. Building these houses is quite fast. It's like 6 to 8 months from the moment we break ground. So that's one thing, the price. So we worked really using like the power of our group to get the best prices for you guys. It's just like in Israel that sometimes you can go to a builder that is building a building and telling them, all right, we're going to buy all of your buildings. You don't need to waste money on advertisement and marketing, and basically get all of these saving back into investors, because that builder can cut prices, let's say 100,000 shekels per apartment, to get the buyers a better price. So this is, first of all, the way for us to get you the best pricing. Second thing, insurances. So as we spoke, insurance in Florida is crazy. A lot of companies left Florida, at least for now. They went bankrupt because of the storms. So we are building far away from the shore. We are right in the middle between Sarasota and West Palm Beach. And so we are right in the middle of Florida, so you can drive to Miami, you can go to Sarasota. Sarasota is amazing for retirees. You have so many shows, and you have like Broadway shows, and you have so many restaurants, and you have so many things, but you can't touch anything there now because prices there went crazy. Like, it's going to be like an apartment for $2 million. It's crazy. I remember we had a project that we worked on with another company, that they're building a building that apartments are so super expensive. And also on the east coast of Florida, like southeast, prices are crazy. So basically, people are going up and up and up and up and up, like Port St. Lucie and stuff. So we are right in that area. And also like places like Orlando became so expensive. People moved to Ocala. Ocala became expensive. So we are constantly looking for the next location for you guys to invest. I started in Israel, investing in a city called Bat Yam when no one was looking at that. I made 1,000% on my investment. I bought the apartment, my first one, for 400,000 shekels. I put only 10% down, 40,000 shekels. I sold it same year for 800,000 shekels. So basically from the 40,000, I made 400,000. So I made 1,000%. I took this money. I bought apartments on the shore of Israel, in an area that I went to the city, and I saw that it's going to be developed. It took 13 years, but I just went now. It's amazing. I went to see it, and where I bought the apartments, they already, in Israel, it's called Pinui Binui. They already started the project. It took a while, but they destroyed the buildings, and I'm going to get brand new apartments. I have a few of those brand new apartments right in front of the water, and they cost me 300,000 shekels. It's like $70,000. Now each one of them is more than 2.5 million shekels. So it's constantly looking, and I'm it's so hot. I'm an analytical guy. This is what I do. I've been programming since I was 8. I was looking at real estate since I was 13. I have articles in my mom's house. They just look at them. I have like a lot of articles being piled up about the influence of the train between Tel Aviv to another city and things like that. So I kept on constantly looking at trends. I remember looking at lands in Israel when I was 16. We had this phone in the living room that, there was no cell phones and stuff. It was just the wired phone connected to the wall. And, so all of my life I was looking just at technology and real estate. I realized these are the fields that can get me the financial freedom that I'm currently at. You can see here, I'm still working and doing what I like, but I don't have to work. I'm my own boss. And I can run this community, and I really enjoy it. So basically, all of these trends, like looking for the next area to invest in. Like when I moved to the US, I started in Philadelphia 2013, when no one was investing there, because simply after the crisis, I looked for the second circle, because New York went down and went up very fast. I looked for the second strong city, and I found Philadelphia. And now people are going crazy like Philadelphia, but I bought for 50,000 houses that worth 250 now. And then I moved to Jacksonville, 2015. Now everyone going crazy on Jacksonville. I started there so long ago. I bought very cheap for $80,000. And now these houses are tripled. So constantly I'm looking for the next areas. We've been in Dallas 3 years ago, but now we are out of Dallas. We've been in Milwaukee 7 years ago. Now everyone going crazy on Milwaukee. There's a song in Hebrew, On the Way to Milwaukee. That was basically the only thing that people knew about Milwaukee, just this song. And now everyone is investing there. So it's always finding the best location, the trends, and Lake Placid being the second. You can see the graph. If you contact me, I can show you the graph. Basically, it's the second, as I mentioned, internal migration inside Florida, simply because of cost of living. For the same house for a studio in Miami, you can get a 3-bedroom house. And if you have a family and you're hardworking, in Lake Placid, as for work, there's a lot of agriculture, believe it or not. Florida is, it used to be the state of oranges. There's a lot of technology now coming to Brickell in Miami and stuff, but still, a lot of people are still working in these industries, and Lake Placid is the caladium capital of the world. Caladium, I'm sure you know, this is the flower that during Christmas, during when someone dies and stuff like that, like you go to Home Depot, you're being flooded with this flower, so many colors. The dog is waking up. There's so many colors, and 96% of the bulbs of this flower are being sent from Florida all over the world. It's the capital for that. You have murals, beautiful murals on the walls. They're everywhere, so people are going there just to see that on. What's up, doggy? You want some attention. You have beautiful murals coming from people coming from all over the world, and you have two beautiful lakes, Lake June and Lake Placid, that a lot of snowbirds from New York, from Canada, are basically, instead of getting an Airbnb for $800 a night for a house, a 3-bedroom house, they're getting it for, let's say the rent is now $1,850. When we started, it used to be $1,650. Now it's $1,850. It's still going up because everyone from Ian, 1 million people lost their house. They moved inland. People from Miami moving there, it's moving inland. So rents going up. And basically currently the inventory, there's less than 1% free houses for rent in Lake Placid. We are the only builders that build there for rent, for investors. There are a lot of homeowners that are living there. They are working there. There's a lot of fishermen, a lot of people that just enjoy living there. You see a lot of driveways with boats. They go to the lakes. It's beautiful lakes. If you're going to Google or YouTube Lake June in winter, you're going to see a beautiful video of houses on the water for $1 million houses. And we are building everything 1 mile from the lake. So it's really beautiful. So first of all, it's a very touristic area. We have people like snowbirds renting it for the entire year and just using it for 4 months. So they're keeping your property in a way like great shape because they're not there most of the year. A lot of Americans, they don't like people to touch their stuff. So they have their own closet. They have their own stuff, and during winter they can just fly away. They have internet, and a lot of people are working now remotely. They can do it whatever they want, and they can live very cheaply in Florida in a very affordable way instead of paying for a nightly Airbnb or nightly hotel. So we have a lot of those and a lot of locals, simply because people like new houses. Someone that is renting a new house is going to stay there for way longer than an older house. And for you, you have a builder's insurance, so even the maintenance is much easier for you. So that's another part that is building your cash flow. Basically, the maintenance, which is very low because it's a new house. You have a builder's guarantee, and you have also warranty for everything in the house. Let's say the roof, the air conditioning, the heating, the cooling, all of that, and you have all of the pipes, PVC, all of the wiring is everything is up to code for today. And as mentioned before, for insurance, houses that are after 2002, the insurance drops. Houses, why? Because they're building in blocks. Their regulation changed. Houses that built before that, they are not built for storms, so the insurance is very high. So being away right in the center of Florida and building in today's codes and with blocks, believe it or not, we got quotes from Citizen, which is like the national insurance company in Florida, $490 a year. Okay, not a month. Like in most places, I saw houses in Fort Lauderdale and stuff, $800 a month, $490 a year. So this is a major component of your cash flow, because insurance is basically throwing money away. Okay, like you're paying insurance, you're not building your equity. It's not like paying your mortgage that you're putting money into your principal of the house, and eventually you can build your equity in like insurance and also taxes. Taxes, basically, you're just throwing money away. So taxes, with all of the houses that now worth $1 million. So it's nice that on paper your house is worth $1.5 million, but you're not going to refinance. You're not going to sell. This is where you live. Okay, you're not going to refinance because interest rates are high and you locked in a very low interest rate. So it doesn't help you that your house, maybe it's nice to tell to your friends that your house is worth so much now, but you're paying for that, because you're paying for that on taxes, because your taxes, when you bought the house, you looked at Zillow and you saw what the taxes has been, let's say $8,000. But then a year after, you're getting a tax bill which is doubled because your house worth doubled, basically. So this is what happened. So all of these are components of that are building your, let's go back to that small jacuzzi place, that are building your cash flow. Oh, just one second. So which other parts are building your cash flow? So we have the insurance, we have the taxes there, because it's an up and coming area, and this area is being developed. The taxes are still very low. I'm paying in New York like $18,000 in taxes. Okay. Over there, look at this. Over there, the taxes are just $150 per month. I think this is a good location for me to be. Whew. Look at this. So nice. Oh. All right, so the taxes are $150 per month. So that's another component of your cash flow, because basically you're taking the $1,850 that you're getting for rent, you're deducting like $40 per month for insurance, $150 for taxes. All right, so this is how much you're gonna have left. What else? You have maintenance. So maintenance, compared to, like people are saying, yeah, I'm gonna flip houses, I'm gonna buy this whole house from the 50s or from the 20s, and I'm gonna redo it. But what people don't realize, people that doesn't have experience, and even people with experience, you don't know what is behind the walls. You're buying this house and you're thinking, oh, I just need to replace the kitchen, the floors, and that's it. And then suddenly you open the walls and you see that you need to replace the entire infrastructure of the house, the pipes, the electric, the plumbing and the heating, the cooling, especially in cold states. In cold states, you have frozen pipes that are just ruining the house. The house is, like the elements are basically ruining the house. It's also in Florida because of the hurricanes. But if you're building your house from bricks and you have a brand new roof, basically you have warranty and you're building in today's codes that are built for the house to withhold with these kinds of elements. And it's kind of like the way you build in Israel. In Israel, everything is cement. Everywhere you see houses, let's see. Here you don't see much houses, but everything is cement. Basically, Israel is being built, is located on two plates that are keep on moving, and you have earthquakes and stuff. So everything here is built to last, and this is why insurances here are actually very low. That's a good point. And here in Israel, the renter is paying the taxes and the insurance. No, the insurance, the landlord, the taxes, the property tax, the tenant. But insurance is very low. In the US, you need to pay for all of that. So you need to make sure that this is very low to keep your cash flow. So we had maintenance, which is basically almost none because it's a new construction. You have insurance, which is like only $40 per month. You have the taxes over there, which are very low because it's kind of like an up and coming area, like $1,800 a year. So 1 month rent covered your taxes. You don't have it in other places in Florida. What else is part of your cash flow? So management. So basically, I manage a lot of my properties myself, especially in good areas. You can use a software like TurboTenant, and basically for management, there are a few different options. First of all, we can connect you to a realtor that's going to find you a good tenant. You're going to get a month, of course, for finding you the tenant, but then you can manage it yourself if it's something that you want to do. I do a lot of it myself. It's not for everyone, but today with software like TurboTenant or other ones, you can do the lease. You can check online the credit. That's the good thing in Israel. In the US. In Israel, they just started to build like a credit system, but in the US, as you know, it's so common. Everyone is part of the credit system. You can see their credit history, which basically tells you if they're going to pay you or not. So you have the credit history, you can see their income, you can see what they do, and you can see eviction history. Because as mentioned before, in the US, the public records for the history for properties and for tenants, for people, is so open wide. It's not like that in other places in the world. If I'm renting my apartment in Israel, I don't have a way to see if the tenant got evicted, or their credit and all of this stuff. So this is a great bonus. Another option, if you want to use a property manager, we have a property manager that we've been using. We actually switched. We had one for 8%. But the thing is, like any other property manager, they charged 1 month rent when a tenant moved in or they changed the tenant. And basically, there's kind of like a paradox with property managers. It's their incentive for the tenant to move out, because then they are getting a full month, which if you calculate it, it's like a whole year of getting 10%. So for them, it's like a good thing for the tenant to move out. So we switched to another company, which they charge 10%, but they don't charge you for every time a tenant move in or when they replace a tenant, and they are just making money from the monthly payment. So it's their interest for the tenant to stay there for long so they can get the 10% every month. So they will actually work harder to find you a good tenant and not just put someone there. Um, we actually checked into a calculator, and we said, all right, let's say a tenant stay 2 years, and usually in a new construction, a family can stay even 10 years. But let's say 2 years, they change, and you need to pay a month every time a tenant moves out. It came out to a calculation of like 4.27 for the management, so it's very, very low. And overall in Lake Placid, ever since we started, now, the median prices went up to, I showed graphs in our form. They went up for like $350,000, and the inventory is less than 1%. So it's crazy. Like, you don't have much houses available, almost any. We are the only ones building their houses for rent. We are the one that started it, and we could lower the cost because we went wholesale. We're basically building way more. But basically there's a lot of demand for houses because basically they're non-exist. And also the benefits of you investing and owning the property, you actually gain from the maximum increase in equity. You're having equity from day one, and this is compared to, let's say, if you invest in a fund or syndication. Basically, you're kind of like taking the risk, you're giving your money, and you are part of the investment. Let's say buying a multifamily, and we did a lot of those, multifamily or fund of buying houses, fixing them up, and adding them into a portfolio. Basically, you are giving your money, and there is certain yield that is part of the business plan that you are supposed to get. Let's say, I don't know, 12%. But if eventually the operator doesn't reach that goal, you're going to get less. Usually there is kind of like a preferred equity, let's say 7%, which you have a preferred before the operator. But by the end of the day, when this investment is gone, you need to look for another investment, and the operator is being that they have their goal is to keep the property for themselves, and either buy you out with a refinance, or basically paying you the 12%, which is good for people that are looking just for passive income. But for example, I can tell you, we had an investor coming to us, and he was telling us he bought a property in Arizona for $72,000, very cheap. And during COVID, it went up for like 280. So he made 4 times on his money. And basically, that's when you are buying real estate, especially in the US and in Florida, that 3,000 people moving every day, and you can't build much, and you have people from all over the world coming to invest in the US, and you can see graphs that Florida is number one from every state in the US for price increase and for migration. Outside migration, as you saw, 361,000 people moved from New York just last year, from New York City, 2 million from New York State. There's not enough housing. So prices of housing going up and up and up and up and up. So if you're looking to buy, to build cash flow for the future and have a financial freedom, everyone knows that. Also, the operators of the funds, their goal is eventually holding the real estate. This is what they want to gain by the end of the day. Someone that is getting your money to buy a multifamily, they want to hold that multifamily, and your money is the riskier part, because basically this money is being used as a deposit to get
a loan from the bank, and the bank is is in the first position. If something goes south, the bank gonna sell the property, get their money, and the investors are less. When you buy your own property, again, it's not for everyone. Like, you will need to deal with a property manager, for example. In the US, it's very easy, especially in good areas, like I mentioned. Like, the property manager can find you a tenant, and as I mentioned, a lot of all of my properties in Florida I manage myself, um, and I'm in New York. Even if you're in Israel or a different place, you can also do that yourself with good tenants. Okay, if you have a nurse, you have a cop, or you screen and you find someone that is good, like, usually they're going to be reliable, they're going to be communicative. What I do in my leases, I'm telling them, listen, I'm giving you a rent that, let's say, $100 less than the market value. All right, let's say the market value is $2,000, you're going to get it for $1,850. But if for one month you're not going to pay and you're going to have any issues, I'm going to get a property manager, and I'm not telling them that they're going to charge 10%. They're going to charge 15%. That's part of the contract. So your rent going to be increased by 15%. It worked for me tremendously until now, and all of the tenants are happy to get basically the saving. So I'm not saving for myself, let's say the management. I'm keeping the rent a bit lower, but I have a tenant that is happy, that are not looking to move all the time because they know that they got a great deal on their place. Everywhere around, it's going to be more expensive, and they're going to be more responsible because they know that I can get management every second, and it's part of the lease, basically. So this is the way I do that, basically to lower the cost. And another part of cash flow is vacancy, is when your property is vacant. So usually you get 1 month a year into the calculation. You're going to have only 11 months of rent. But the thing is, with new construction, a lot of people that are moving into new construction, they are very happy with the place. Who doesn't want to live in a brand new place? So usually they're going to stay longer, and also it's easier to rent it out. In our properties, all of the materials are really high end. For example, the flooring is Marvel, Calacota Marvel, which is way more expensive. And during COVID, all of the prices of the flooring and the bricks and everything went up and up and up. And we kept the contract price, and we had to lose money on that because we are keeping our word and keeping the contract for whatever price. We didn't hike the price. But for renters, this is beautiful because they're getting a kitchen with stainless steel appliances, which are way more expensive, flooring, which is also for you as a homeowner. These materials are holding up way longer, but they also look much better in the listing. It's much easier to rent these properties when they look better. And also, for example, all of the cabinets, compared to a lot of other builders, competitors that we see that actually are way more expensive than us. We are working with carpenters that are actually building these cabinets from all wood, and that's very important for you because the other builders, they're using like cheap vinyl flooring. They're gonna use cabinets from Home Depot that's gonna fall apart after a few years. And 70% of our portfolio is actually these properties that we build also for ourselves. So we're keeping the same level of materials also for our investor. We don't build lower level for investors and higher level for us. So all of it is very high level for everyone. The vacancy is another part of the cash flow. So by the end of the day, today we see almost double digit in gross I think it was like 9 point something in gross. That, in Florida it's amazing. Like in Tel Aviv, which is kind of like the Florida of Israel, you can get maybe 2% yield. And also in Florida, if you buy in Miami and stuff, you're gonna have very low yield because the prices are so high. Even the rent went up, it's still keeping the yield low. I don't know, into 2% or 3%. We are buying more for appreciation. When we buy, well, like in Lake Placid, you also buy for appreciation because you are buying below market value. You have equity when you buy, and you also have everything in line. All of the expenses are low. And let's talk about financing again, like the BRRRR method, the BRRRR method. Everyone want to do that. We're teaching that in our courses. Buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. So basically, how do you do that with new construction? So instead of buying like a rundown house, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat, you're buying a brand new house in the wholesaling price that we are selling, because we are selling basically to other companies that they are selling that for much higher. But you can, with us, with the forum, the largest one in Israel, 17,000 people as of recording this video now, 2023. Basically, we are working all the time on negotiating the best prices for you guys to get you a lot of savings when you buy the house. So you buy that with equity, and we have premium members, so we need to give priority for premium members to get these houses. And currently we have 3 first houses that we are building for that price. We have other houses that we're currently building for the regular price that we locked. We have 3 houses that we're building for that lower price. We're gonna see. Hi, doggy. We're gonna see how that goes. Also we cut our profitability by more than 25%. Also to bring these prices down, and also negotiated a lot and buying in bulk. So as long as this round works well, we're gonna keep on keeping that price. Otherwise, we will need to get back to the regular price. But basically, with BRRRR, as mentioned, you cannot take a new construction loan without experience. But what you can do, let's say you bought it for the current price for the house, and then you refinance it for around 300,000. You're getting for foreign national, you can get that's the default, 60% out. But we can do like an auction to find you the best deal. Some lenders gonna give you even more, 65, 70% out. So if you calculate, you're basically getting all of your money out. You bought a house, you're getting the money out, and a lot of people are buying 2, 3, 4 houses, getting the money out. As an American, you can get even like 80% out. You're getting all of your money out, and then you do it again. You buy another 4 or 5 houses, you're getting your money out, and suddenly you're becoming like a small tycoon, because you are having like 5, 10 houses for your retirement that you bought. And the great thing is when you're doing like that, compared to, let's say, syndication or multifamily, the great benefit when you're having let's say 10 houses for your retirement, when you reach, let's say, 70, you want to give some money to the kids, you're just selling one of these houses. The dog starts going crazy. You're just selling one of these houses, and you know that there is a very large man, I forgot his name, a mentor in the US, and he phrased the phrase of refi until you die. Because basically, you cannot make more land in the world, in the US, especially in Florida, and prices just go up and up and up because people need a place to live. And you need to see the migration trends. We all the time we look at migration trends. For example, U-Haul, where people are moving, and we see a lot of people moving to Florida still, thousands of people every day. And prices just go up and up and up. So let's say you bought for today's price for these houses, and in 5 years they're going to double, Or like that guy from what I started to tell you in Arizona, he bought in 72,000, and during COVID it was 280. What he did basically wrong, instead of refinance, okay, so this is what you should do. When you buy these houses, when they are ready, you refinance, you get your money out. What's the benefit of that? You don't pay 6% broker fee. You do pay for the refinance, but it's much less, let's say half. And for the money you made from the appreciation, when you're selling, you need to pay taxes for that. When you are taking a debt, like you refinance, basically it's not a refinance, it's your first finance because you bought it for cash. You get your money out, you are not paying taxes on that. That's the huge benefit on that, because you don't pay tax on debt that you took. All right. So what he should have done, there's another benefit of refinance. You're making money, like you're winning either way the property value goes. Because what happens during COVID, he sold it for 280. He paid 6% for broker fee. He paid taxes. He still made good money because he bought it for very cheap, for 72,000. But if he was refinancing and he could get 200,000 out, it's like almost 3 times how much he bought for the house, and keep the property. Okay? And when you buy smart, always buy smart. In 2008, people didn't buy smart and they bought just for appreciation. And when prices went down, they couldn't keep the properties because there was no cash flow there. Our investments, you can count them on one hand. Okay, even though we are the largest forum and we have so many opportunities, we are being very, very solid with what we offer as investors. This is why we are looking for everything to be in line. You saw the location, crime, the migration trends, jobs, insurance, taxes, maintenance, vacancy, management, everything to be in line for your investment to be successful. Okay, when people are moving into an area, prices go up. Okay, and we're already seeing that like crazy in Lake Placid. Like the median price went up more than 100K, from like 250 to 350 in that area. Like you can see videos that we posted with real data about the area. So basically all of these things are very important things to look at. So that investor, you know what happened during COVID? The price of that house that he bought for 72,000 went up to 450. What he should have done, refinance on 280, because he was scared. Everyone was scared. That was COVID time. People thought that all of the prices, everything going to collapse. So for him, he said that probably was a smart way of thinking. Maybe during COVID, the 280 going to collapse to 150. I'm going to lose all of my equity. And we also see it now, because interest rates go up and up and up. Your properties value go down. But why? Because the ability of people to pay for expensive houses, if someone could afford a $700,000 house, now he can afford only 400,000 because it's not being pre-approved. So actually all of the cheaper houses, like the one we're building, they go up in value now because this is what people can afford. So let's say you buy that property now and you're going to try and sell it for 300, 350, you're going to have way more people looking at this price point because they cannot afford houses for 700, 800,000 like they could afford, like the bank approved them when the interest rate was 2.8. Now the interest rates are in the 8s. So the banks simply don't approve them for more expensive houses. So they're looking at the cheaper houses. So all of these houses go up in price. So this is actually good for us as investors, because these are the kind of houses that we are buying, we are building, and buying. Yeah. So basically, all of the that investor, if he was refinancing on 280 and then refi until you die on 450, and in 5 years when this property is going to be 600,000, refi again, and basically the benefit is you get your money out and you don't care. Basically, if the value keep on going up, you still hold the property. So from 280 to 450, you still made money. He wanted the money to invest in another area because he was scared. But you can take your money as a refinance. You can put it in another property. Now, basically, as the way we look at it, that money that you took out, yeah, now you need to pay for that mortgage. Of course, it's you might even be in a negative territory with the high rates, but the 200,000 that you took out, now you buy another property that's going to generate another 1850. I don't know, like you're going to get your money out, you're going to add some money into it, and you're going to get another property. When you look at it into one package, yeah, maybe you are now negative $200 on the first property, but you're plus 1850 on the second one. So overall, you're plus 1600, and more than that, you're in a safer position, because if one tenant moves out and doesn't pay, or God forbid you need to evict them or something, you still have another property paying, covering for your mortgage. So at least you can have all of your expenses paid. So, and also if values go down, basically you're also safe because you took your money out. So your money is out in another property, and if the values went down, which we don't see it like currently in Miami, even with the negative migration, values just went down 1%. Why? Most of the people there bought for cash. We don't have, all of the regulations now for mortgages are way more strict than they used to be in 2008. The Dodd-Frank regulations. Back in the days, 2008, you had a pulse. You could take a mortgage. It's not like that these days. And a lot of people had a lot of cash because of printing money during COVID. So all of the money printing, they took many loans for their businesses didn't even need. So they just bought real estate more and more and more and more and more. So this is why a lot of properties now are being built for cash. Also, our properties, we're selling them for cash. This is why we can also sell them for these kind of prices. Basically, you're not taking a loan. You need to come up with the cash. You pay that in installments. You first buy the land. So this is if you want to move forward. You first buy the land, you secure the lot, and then you're building. As the building progress, we're building anywhere between 6 to 8 months. You're having your house ready. We want you to be close to cash flow as soon as possible. Okay, so this is why building is very fast. You're not just building a land and you're sitting on a land. Okay, and the land also prices just going up in that area, but like you are getting your house very fast and you can start renting it out and getting cash flow for your money instead of your money sitting in the bank and being eaten by inflation. Inflation went down, but it's still very high. Expenses are very high. I told you, I remember changing a bulb used to be 2 for 10, now it's 1 for 35. Everything is crazy. All of the prices are crazy. And if you want to secure your future, like people had their money in 401k and suddenly everything cut into half. And also in stocks or Bitcoin or all of that, you can make stupid, unwise decisions. And suddenly, like I remember when I dealt with a lot of stocks back in my 20s, early 20s in my BA, you don't sleep at night. Like you go to sleep and you see red, green, red, green, red, green. You can wake up in the morning and say, that's it, I'm selling it all. And then it's go up. And then you say, all right, I'm going to buy, going to sell, I'm going to buy. The good thing about real estate, it's very stable. It's not liquid. I never sell. I realized to the point, I sold one property in my life, the one in Bat Yam, the first one. I made 1,000%, and I wish I never sold it, because now it's worth 3 times what I sold it. Of course, I used that money to buy a lot of other properties, so I'm happy that I did it. But I wish that I found a way to just to keep that property as well, because I don't know, 15, 16, 17 years ago, the prices now are apartments there are in the millions. I bought it for 400,000 shekels. It's like $100,000. Now it's can be like $1 million. Crazy. So I'm happy that every year I'm buying. There's no year I don't care about what's going on in the market. I never stand still. I never sit on the fence and wait for investing. You know, the best thing in investing, instead of waiting to invest in real estate and wait. There is a statement like that in Israel. Instead of waiting for investing, invest and wait. And time is a great factor for real estate. So you can either go back in time, or buy below market value. This is what we say. We are teaching wholesaling, basically getting properties straight from landlords. And this is kind of like traveling back in time, because instead of buying on the market, you are buying off market. You can negotiate the price to 20-30% below market value. So it's like kind of like went a few years back in time and bought it back then. But the other opportunity is basically buying a new construction in a wholesale way, in bulk, and not retail, and not from builders. Because I can tell you a story before we're gonna end this video. I went to look for at Lennar to buy a new construction, and basically, you know, a lot of people are not checking and see the values in the area. So let's say the property was worth 730 in the area. So what they do, they need to keep the prices going up and up and up. So whoever bought gonna see the prices going up. So they market it for 830, and everyone there in the company tell you a different price. There's no set price. Like one going to tell you, oh, it's 830, it's 850, it's whatever, and then they're giving you a break. So they say, all right, you're going to buy it for 830, but you're going to get 80,000 in incentives to buy you down the all of the cost of the mortgage if you're going to use our lender. And you see in the lender they have so many fees that are made up, like pest inspection fee and all kind of like made up costs, like a long list, like a builder fee, whatever. And we're doing mortgages every day. We don't see all of the any of these costs. They're just making it up. So they're giving you a break, but they're taking it back in the mortgage. And basically by the end of the day, you realize that you paid above market value even after 80,000 break that they give you. So they're tricking you in every possible way. That's crazy. So basically, by buying cash, and you can see on Zillow other houses that were built that are the value is like 300,000, and you're buying it for way less than what you see that is the current market value. This is how you make equity, because right now you are buying in a pre-sale. Like in Israel, you have a Mechir Lamishtaken. It's like you're buying, the government is subsidizing houses in different areas that you can buy below market value for first-time home. A subsidy. In the US, it's kind of like your first-time home buyer getting like a lower interest rate. So basically buying pre-sale from us, the builders, that we are building in bulk, and we are using the power of our real estate forum with many investors to get you to negotiate the prices of every material in the house, to get you the best prices, and for the land and for everything. This is how we are all making a profit, because each one of you are getting the property at the bottom price, We are also cutting our profits way less because we are building in bulk. If we did it just for one or two investors, we couldn't do it. But when we're doing it for tens of investors, we are happy to make less money per investor. But overall, just like Tesla, Tesla pricing, they are selling wholesale. They're selling direct to clients, and this is what we do. Also with our real estate courses, we don't have billboards. We see other schools in Israel spending million shekels a quarter on advertising. They need to fly over their mentors. We ask a lot of them, all of these companies, to give us a break, some discount for our forum. They say we can't. We have so much expenses. We have 50 people that we need to feed. We have mentors that we need to fly over, and we need to pay for their hotels. We need to pay for the flights. We need to pay for the conventions that we're doing in hotels and stuff. So we're trying to be very efficient with the way we're doing conventions, with the way we're doing teaching, with the way we are doing the mortgage auctions, and also in the way that we are creating investments for you. We are using the power of the group, and we are marketing wholesale directly to you guys so you can make the profit instead of wasting a lot of money on PPCs and Facebook ads and Google ads and video ads and billboards, and I don't know where else you're seeing all kind of investments in Israel or the US or other places. Just realize that every advertise that you see, by the end of the day, you are the one paying for that. Okay, there's no free meals. By the end of the day, all of these expenses. We saw companies in Israel, I'm not going to mention names, but big funds that basically they charge 5% upfront from every investment, like syndication investments in whatever. And I also, back in the days, I came to the US 13 years ago, and first few years I couldn't buy real estate because I couldn't take mortgages, only buy cash, because I had to build my credit. I had to build my income history and all of that to take mortgages. It's not like today that foreign nationals can take mortgages without taxes, without insurance, without income. We are doing all of that for you guys, foreign nationals and Americans that they want to buy real estate without showing taxes, without income and all of that. We have, as I mentioned, as for today, July 2023, we have 161 lenders that can do that. For all of them are Americans, and that's a huge benefit because you get all of the infrastructures of the American lender, the bank accounts, the online presence, and you know that you have a company that's going to serve you for the next 30 years, and they're also way more competitive than other smaller Israeli companies. But basically, you have all of these benefits with investing, with like getting the financing. So basically, guys, this is about working on your financial freedom, getting real estate as part of your portfolio for bottom prices, for the best state probably in the world, because for me the US is the number one country to invest in the world, and everyone realizing it. If it's South Americans and Europe and Australia and Israel, there's money coming here all the time, and everyone knows Florida. It's like lenders, everyone land in Florida. Everyone loves Florida. Everyone want to move to Florida, and everyone want to have real estate in Florida because it's kind of like the safe haven. It's the state that everyone want to invest, but a lot of people can't because it's too expensive. So we build this product for you guys So you can invest. You can see a lot of ready-made houses that already built. If you want to take a look, a lot of investors that already got their houses, already renting them for a long time, and now we are ramping it up. I'm not sure how long these prices are gonna last, how many we're gonna build for these prices. We might find out that it doesn't make sense for us. So currently we started with 3 houses for these prices. Basically, to secure the house, all you need to do is buy the land. The land is yours. We are using a very well-known Floridian title company. They handling the transaction. They're checking that everything is legit. Your money is going to escrow. It's not going to us. Never send your money directly to an operator. It all goes to the attorney. It's all being supervised by the attorney company, and to make you to get you a safe investment. And a lot of you guys know me. My picture is usually at the top of the forum all the time. My name is the most important thing for me. My name, my company, Nadlan Group. We are more than 40 people now. 12 people just in the loan company. We have 8 analysts that are constantly analyzing deals for you guys. And as I mentioned, we don't have more than 5 different deals at a time, because we are screening 99% of the deals that are coming our way. And usually we're running long long ways into every investment. We've been building in Lake Placid for like 3 years. We are doing a huge project with the same developer. We are building a community of 54 townhouses right by the water in Florida. So we have a $16.8 million project. So we have a lot of experience in building these houses. Became way easier for us, way cheaper for us. We're doing it in bulk, and you are basically making the profit from these transactions. You're making equity. You're making your profit in real estate when you buy. If you buy below market value, I don't know, 50,000 below market value, you just made $50,000, because if you sell it after that, you're gonna make this money. Um, so this is also the best buffer for, let's say, if you think, oh, real estate is gonna go down, how much is it gonna go down? 5%, 10%. I don't know. Each one of you might have their own thinking. Everyone is sitting on the fence looking for a crisis to happen. 2015, people were thinking the same in Florida. They say, oh, we're going to wait for the prices to go down. You know what happened to real estate prices since 2015? I bought in Jacksonville 2015 for $80,000. This house is now worth $300,000. So, you can sit on the fence, or you can go to the best state probably in the world. That money is coming from all over. The Chinese, the Russian, everyone is bringing money to the US, South Americans. So much money is going into the US, and basically have your money, instead of losing value in the bank, your cash, your hard money, saved cash, or in 401ks or whatever, you can just put it into bricks. This is why it's called real estate. It's real. So even during any crisis, I lost a lot of money in the stock exchange when I was 20. I told you 90% in the dot-com bubble, and it was teaching me a lot. It was teaching me to put 85% at least of my money in real estate. I still have some stocks. I have, like, I don't know, 3% of Bitcoin or whatever, just for the sake it's going to become $1 million thing, but only 3% money that I can lose. Maybe 10% of my money is in stocks. I have some S&Ps, I have some Tesla or whatever, but most of my money is in real estate. And tell you the truth, I made most of my fortune, all of my fortune, most, I guess, I don't know. Yeah, stocks, they go up, they go down. I don't know. I don't even touching it. But also real estate, I don't touch. I just buy. I never sell. I just refi. I refi and buy and buy and buy. Refi, buy, refi, buy. Um, and always getting on time to a new market. Just go into the markets before they go crazy. And I did it many times in my life, and every time I gained, it's amazing. I just saw the video of in Hadera, it's a city in Israel, when I bought an apartment for 300,000 shekels, and now they have. I just saw it now because they signed us last year. I came here actually in January to sign the project when they're gonna destroy the building. They already destroyed it. They already fences around, very fancy ones, like they did it very nicely. There's already an office for selling the properties, and it starts in like 2 million shekels, the most basic apartment. And these things are life changing. These things are life changing. You're buying this real estate for below market value in an up and coming area when people are flooding in. You are keeping these properties and you refinance, you buy more of these properties, and then suddenly 10 years later you find yourself, I don't know, with 10 properties, and you can live from that cash flow. Or if you want to go crazy when you are 60 or 70 and you want that Lamborghini, or you want that crazy car, like my friend when he bought pre-COVID, like the Porsche for 45,000, and I don't know, for him it was like a dream to coming in America and driving a Porsche. You can just sell one of them. You can get your kids to college. That's probably what I'm gonna do. Like when my daughter, she's now 12 and my son is 8. When I will need to pay for college, probably I'm gonna just sell one of two, and because I trying not to keep any money staying in my bank account. I want them all invested. So every time I refinance, I get money out. I'm buying more properties. I'm waiting for them. I buy below market value, so I can refinance for the market value. But sometimes I'm just holding it like that to stabilize the new mortgage because I got money out, stabilizing everything. Rents are going up. Rents keep on going up, especially in time like that. Rents currently they're going up because people cannot afford buying houses, basically. So if someone were looking to move into their dream house, they're even gonna buy a cheaper house like the one we are building, and we are selling a lot of these houses to also first-time home buyers for 300, 350 or so. Or they will need to keep on renting because they simply lost the opportunity to buy. And when more people want to rent, rents are going up. And when more people are moving into a state, rents are going up. You saw what happened in Miami, and you saw what happened in Sarasota. You saw what happened in Orlando. And Ocala and Lake Placid are just the next places in line. The next places that prices are going up and up and up. And we saw, like you saw the video that they posted with the median price from 250 to 350. We're already seeing it happen. You see the graph of people migrating to this area. You see a huge jump, like crazy graph of people moving in there. People living everywhere, and people are constantly looking to live in affordable places. We can see it in Israel. For example, religious people are moving to Bnei Brak, whoever knows Israel, and now prices there, you cannot touch everything. And next to it was Pardes Katz. It was like a place with a lot of, I don't want to say bad words, but criminal activity and stuff. They started buying there. It's all changed. We see it in Brooklyn, where people moved to Bushwick, all of these areas, or East New York, which were not good areas, and now all of the prices going up because basically it's just land and real estate. People are looking for a place to live, and prices go up. You see it in San Francisco, other places where the gay community, that they less care less about schools and stuff. They're moving, or Jewish religious Hasidic places. They move into cheaper areas because they have their own schools, they have their own education system, and prices just go crazy in all of these areas that people are moving into and flocking into. And we saw it during COVID, and it's a trend that just keep on going. People are getting tired of the cold, of the snow, of the regulations, of the bureaucracy, of the government, or they just want to have fun. Girls want to have fun. People want to have fun. They just want to enjoy their time in the sun. They are getting retired sooner. So either they're moving, or they're buying a second house, or they're either going to buy from you, or they're going to rent from you, which are the best renters, like the snowbirds, that they're going to rent that the house for the entire year, just to use for 5 months. And you can also do Airbnb over there, and then you can make 3 times the rent. You will need to deal with it, but there's so many solutions these days for renting with Airbnb. You have people, like we are teaching in wholesaling, that you have people in the Philippines that's going to make phone calls for you and text messages for you. You have companies in the Philippines that they're going to handle all of the listing for you, and they're going to answer people for you, and they're going to book for you for, I don't know, 10% off the listing. So this is, you can build like a whole village. You can buy 10 houses and have like a whole rental village, and that's it. Retire. And we are all here basically to gain financial freedom. This is what we want. We want to be in places like that. I can work. I'm happy that I can take 2 months off. Like people at the gym in New York, F45, that I go every day, they ask me, can you just take 2 months and go? Yeah, I can, because all I need is a computer. I go on my Zooms with investors. We have a team that is running the financing, the loans department. We have the analyst. We have all of our employees. So now I can work on top of the business and not inside the business. I have my real estate that even if I'm going to stop doing anything, I can still live on my cash flow, on my real estate. And this is something that, I'm now 47. It took years to build, but it's something that ever since I was 8 when I started coding, and 13 when I started looking into real estate, I was all the time aiming for that. I was looking for what fields, if it's technology, if it's real estate, what fields the famous, like the successful people, Bill Gates and all of these people, Jeff Bezos, all of the rich people, all of the wealthy people, eventually, even if they make the money from technology, they are holding real estate because it's the most stable asset out there. So everyone is holding real estate. There's no rich person. Of course, Donald Trump, for example, he made his fortune from real estate. And basically, he was doing BRRR, but basically in a much larger scale. For example, buying the first hotel at the Ambassador Hotel, building his first building in Manhattan, and then doing a refinance and getting the money out, and then buying another one and another one and another one. So, you can start with these houses and move on and get more and more and more real estate, buying yourself a portfolio, and get in 5-10 years to get to like 10 properties like that, and retire. So that's it, guys. I hope I gave you some insights of what we do, about the current real estate situation in the world, in Israel, in the US, where people are moving, where people are buying, and some opportunities and some solutions that we can help you guys if you're looking to invest and you're looking to basically buy below the market value, because this is the way you should buy. You should never buy on the market. You should never overpay, especially now, because if you're now going to buy on the market, a lot of these sellers, even though interest rates went up, they're not correcting their prices. They're still holding up. They're still hoping to get the previous prices. And this is what happened in 2008. Like, people were buying. You never want to be the last one holding the hot potato. You never want to be the last one holding that very expensive property and having a FOMO, fear of missing out, of buying that property for very high price and basically losing money when the prices go down. You want to buy below market value and have the buffer that if prices are going to correct, you're not going to lose a lot. But more than that, if you're buying the cheaper houses, where prices are going to correct, the one that went from 400 to $1.5 million, they have a long way to go. So if you bought it in 400, it's went to $1.5 million, you made a lot of money. And if it's going to go to 1.2, you're still okay. But if you bought at $1.5 million now and it's go to 1.2, you lost 300,000. That's very painful. The cheaper houses, they don't have a way. Where are they going to go down? Just think about the prices that we're selling the house. Where is it going to go down? Where people are still need to live. Where are they going to live? Everyone want to move to Florida. Everyone looking. You cannot find any new construction now in Florida for less than 300,000, basically. Okay, 350. You just can't. Where are they going to go down? So like, if you buy them wholesale, you can get in cheaper than that. So even if there's going to be a correction, it's not going to be in these houses. It's going to be in the more, it's happening. We already see it. The very expensive houses, they are correcting, but the cheaper ones are going up, because this is what people can afford now. If they could afford 700,000 houses before, now they can afford a 300,000 house. So all of these cheaper houses are basically their price is going up. So that's it, guys. I've been talking here for like 2 hours now. It used to be 6 a.m. Now it's around, oh, my leg. Now it's like 8 a.m. I'm gonna see if anyone woke up. I see even the doggy went to sleep. Hi, doggy. You can see here the beautiful fields behind me. They're making oil out of, like, it's all olive oils. I just heard yesterday that the price of olive oil, it was in the news here in Israel, went up 25%. So I thought, oh, Rafael that owns this place might be happy. So when you're the one producing, when you are the one that holding the property, the commodity, when you are the one holding the real estate, you are actually happy when prices go up. You know, when I hold a lot of real estate and prices go up, I'm happy. All of the one that didn't buy on time, they are the one not happy. So if you want to get into the game, this is the time for you to get into the game, because I'm not sure how long we can hold this opportunity to sell in wholesale prices and cut our prices in tens of thousands of dollars. Basically, you're getting the price like it used to be when you bought like 4+ houses. Okay, this is wholesale. When you buy 4 or 5 houses, you're getting wholesale price. Now we are offering the same prices even when you buy your first property. So I'm Lior. I know it's not that easy to pronounce. Some people in the US call me Leo. It might be easier. I don't care. Whatever name you want to use, just to make it easier for you. I am enjoying life. I like to travel, and I'm working hard. I used to work for a company until 3 years ago. I was working hard back then. I work even harder now, because I'm doing everything that I do to run basically 4 different businesses: the financing, the investment, the marketing, and the education, but I enjoy everything that I do, and I don't forget to live life during what I do, to travel, to enjoy myself, to take care of my family. And that's it, guys. I have 18 seconds until it's exactly 2 hours, so let's keep it that way. If you want to ask any questions, you can comment on the video. You can contact me. Lior Nadlan Group, currently in Israel. Take care, guys. Bye bye.